Hey, what's up everybody? Benji Bruce here with speakinglifestyle.com, and in this video I want to talk about how to fix your lack of speaking gigs. I mean, if you're not getting the speaking gigs that you want. I mean, whenever I ask speakers what their number one problem is with their speaking business, it's almost always, how do I get more paid speaking engagements? So if you're a speaker and you want to get more speaking gigs, then listen very closely. Right now, you have a problem, and you believe that problem is a lack of speaking gigs. Now, maybe you have a great message, but you're just not getting booked. I mean, of course, you're telling people that your speaking business is doing pretty good, and maybe you do a little bit of marketing here and there. Maybe you check some Facebook groups to read what other speakers are doing, or I mean, maybe you ask for advice on those groups. But you're still just not getting booked. Deep down, you know that you could be doing so much more than what you're doing right now. You know that you should be getting more paid gigs, but for some reason you're not. So what's the deal? I mean, why aren't you getting booked? Now, I've mastered the ability to get booked in the corporate market. I know what to focus on just because I actually had to. I mean, I've never really had a job. I've always been performing and speaking for a living, so I kind of had to just make it work no matter what. And I realized that there are tons of speakers out there who have a great message. Maybe they're really great on stage, but nothing seems to work. And even worse, maybe you hear all these gurus who tell you stuff on how to market yourself as a speaker, and you hear all this advice about creating webinars and positioning yourself as an expert and writing your best-selling book and all that other stuff, but nothing seems to be working. No matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, you're still not getting paid gigs. So how do you turn it around? Well, there are a few reasons. In fact, there are many reasons as to why you don't have the speaking gigs that you want. And I'm going to tell you what those reasons are. And more importantly, I'm going to tell you the number one biggest reason. The first reason really is that you're confusing the seminar market with the paid keynote speaking. I talked about this in another video, but most speakers, they want paid speaking gigs, but they market themselves like a seminar speaker. If you want paid speaking gigs, you have to market yourself almost like an entertainer. So instead of talking about your message and how your message is going to change lives, and you talk about how you're going to energize, instead of talking about how your message is going to change lives, you instead talk about how you're going to energize a room and how you're going to get people excited with your keynote. You talk about how you're going to make the event a success rather than how your message is gonna like help people achieve their dreams, things like that. So the way you market yourself is very different. You need to have that message to market match, and don't confuse the two. Now, I suggest that you watch the video where I talk about the seminar versus corporate market. If you want more information about that. Another reason for your lack of speaking gigs is that your marketing materials aren't good enough. If you want paid speaking gigs, then you need to have marketing materials that show the event planner the type of experience you create at the event. Now, notice that I didn't say you should talk about your message as a speaker. Your marketing materials need to reflect the experience. They need to prove to the event planner that you're a pro. So do you have pictures of you in front of big crowds? Do you have the TV appearances? Do you have clips where the audience is like having a great time, testimonial videos? I mean, all that stuff, it really does matter. So many speakers, they want to get to a point where, they just want me to get to the point where I tell them like how to get booked. They say things to me like, hey, should I just contact this person and things like that. They want me to say like, hey, just contact this person and then you're going to get booked to speak. But that's not how it works. 90% of you getting booked, of you getting paid gigs, is in the things you do before you ever contact someone. If you don't have the right marketing materials, then it doesn't matter who you contact. You're going to have a hard time getting paid gigs. Now, I want to tell you that the biggest reason as to why you're not getting booked, and this is the reason that 99% of speakers really need to pay attention to, the biggest reason for your lack of getting paid speaking gigs, it's very simple. And I've always wondered, why does one speaker get booked and stay booked, versus another speaker who might be just as good, if not better, yet that speaker still struggles to get booked. And I used to think that maybe it really was just the marketing materials. I mean, maybe the speakers who were getting booked just had better, like a better website, better videos. I mean, better all marketing stuff. But then I took a look at Les Brown's website and I said, like, man, that's the worst speaker website I've ever seen in my life. But he's obviously getting booked. And on top of that, I thought to myself, like, okay, well, how do you get the videos to begin with? If you don't have any, how do you get the good website, the videos, and the great marketing materials to begin with? I mean, all speakers started from scratch. All speakers started where they had nothing and they had to get the stuff. So it obviously can't just be the marketing materials. And then I thought, okay, well, maybe they just don't know what to do. Maybe they just don't know what actions to take to get booked on corporate stages. And that's obviously a big problem. I mean, if you don't know what to do to get paid gigs, and I mean, you obviously want paid gigs, but you don't know what actions to take every day, then you're obviously going to have a hard time getting booked. So I thought, okay, maybe it's the lack of information that's out there. And that's obviously why I created the Speaking Lifestyle site. I mean, I thought to myself, if people had information, and I specifically said, hey, here's exactly how I get companies to pay me 10 grand or more to have me on their stage, and I thought people would follow it. But then I realized something. I realized that it's not a lack of information. The information is all out there. I mean, especially on the Speaking Lifestyle site. Everything you need is out there, and it shows you how to get paid gigs. The reason speakers aren't getting booked is because of their psychology. They don't run their speaking business like an actual business. If you're asking yourself, how do I get video footage? How do I get a good website? And all that stuff, and you're just starting out, then you need to change your psychology dramatically. Here's how most speakers who have a hard time getting booked, here's how most speakers spend their day. They wake up, maybe they have a job, maybe they don't, maybe they're lucky to have some money in the bank, but they wake up and I don't know, let's say they wake up at 10 a.m. If they don't have a job, they grab some breakfast, they check their Facebook, they check their email. Noon comes around, they're still online, just messing around. They're checking out some YouTube videos and maybe the latest viral video they saw on Facebook. Every now and again, they think about their speaking business, and maybe they'll do a little bit of research about some marketing stuff. Maybe they'll read a business article here and there, and maybe they'll chat on the Facebook groups for speakers, and maybe read what other people post about speaking. And now it's like 4 p.m. Nothing really has been done yet when it comes to their speaking business. And before they know it, it's kind of nighttime, and maybe they read a self-help book and they dream about how they're going to build their speaking business. They get all excited and they start doing some affirmations because they just read a book, and they're talking about mindset and all that stuff. And then they go to sleep. They're about to go to sleep. They promise that tomorrow is going to be a new day, that they're going to do something different. They're going to kill it with their business, and guess what? Nothing actually happens. Most people live a Groundhog Day, the same day. Today was the same as yesterday. Yesterday was the same as the day before, and so on. I realized that the difference between the speakers who aren't getting booked and the ones who are getting booked is two things. Number one, it's specialized knowledge. The speakers who are getting booked have specialized knowledge about how to get booked. They know exactly what to do because they learned it from someone else or because they eventually figured it out themselves. Second, they have this iron determination about them. Remember when I said that you need to have good marketing materials like the website, the videos, all that stuff? Well, someone who's serious about getting booked, they're going to figure it out. They're going to figure out how to get it no matter what. They realize, okay, maybe they realize like, all right, I'm not getting on any stages, but they realize that they need testimonial videos. So what do? They go to friends and they ask friends like, hey, give me a testimonial. I'm going to record you and say this. And they just ask friends, and they use that until they get testimonials from actual speaking gigs. But they wake up early. They start contacting people all day. They don't mess around online. They just start contacting people to hire them. I mean, if they have a horrible website, they just make it better. If they can't hire someone to do it, they figure it out themselves. I mean, if you haven't already, then I want you to watch the video where the title, I think the title is something like, "Do you want me to book speaking gigs for you?" I want you to watch that video. And I want you to watch the video because most speakers are in the mindset of, "Hey, can you book gigs for me and I'll give you a commission?" Most speakers are in that mindset. If you're in that mindset, then you really need to watch that video. It's stopping you from filling up your schedule as a speaker. The problem is that most speakers just don't have the business mentality. They're so caught up in things like, "Oh, I don't want to spend $348 to join platform," or, "Oh, I have to go run errands today," or, "Oh, I don't like sitting down and contacting people all day. I like being on stage instead." So they're so caught up in the little things, in these little things that blind them from building their business. And I mean, I know I talk about this a lot, about the psychology a lot. That's because speakers don't realize how their mind is stopping them from getting gigs. I tell speakers all the time, get a better website. Then I check their website a couple weeks later, and guess what? Nothing has changed. And then they send me an email saying, "Hey, how do I get paid speaking gigs?" I say, get a better website. Or I'll tell speakers like, "Hey, join platform. That way you can get specialized knowledge." And basically they say like, "Oh, but I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll join it later." And I mean, that's essentially the place where I reveal all the real tactics, but they just keep doing what they've always done. What's even worse is like these free videos, the video you're listening to, all the free videos on the blog, things like that I keep sending out. There are a lot of people out there who say they want to build their business, but they don't even open the emails or watch the videos, or they just say they're going to do it later. Now that just amazes me. I mean, it's free and you still don't watch it. That just amazes me. If you keep living your life today as you did yesterday and the day before, then nothing's going to change. You literally have to become someone new. And I don't mean like that woo-woo kind of stuff in the motivational kind of way. I mean like literally you have to become someone new. Like you and I are two completely different people. I mean, we like different foods. I mean, we wake up at different times. We are completely different people. You and your friends are completely different people. Everyone is completely different. Well, guess what? You have to become completely different than what you are right now if you want to get paid speaking gigs and to really grow your speaking business. I mean, you normally wake up at, let's say, 8 a.m. and you normally do X, Y, Z. Well, now you have to wake up at, I don't know, 7 a.m. You have to do A, B, C. You should be so different that people who know you, they say things like, "Man, that's not like you." That's what you want to hear. Most people, they think that's a bad thing, but it's a good thing if what you're doing is the right thing. I see so many speakers who say they want help when it comes to building their speaking business, but they're not willing to help themselves. They're not willing to do the work. They're not willing to invest in anything. They just expect to be themselves, to be who they are today, and to have everything just magically work out. The way you're going to fix your lack of speaking gigs is to start doing things that you don't normally do. I mean, do you normally contact 100 people a day to hire you? If your answer is no, well, now you should. I mean, do you normally do Google AdWords for your marketing? If your answer is no, well, now you should. I mean, have you read every single blog post on the Speaking Lifestyle site? If the answer is no, well, now you should. Who you are right now, it needs to change. I'm not talking about in a motivational speaker kind of way. I mean, literally, like everything that you have done needs to change. I mean, everything that you have done hasn't worked out. So change, be someone different. Literally. I mean, literally imagine yourself sitting next to Tony Robbins right now. Imagine yourself sitting next to Tony Robbins. You're watching him run his business. Like you're just shadowing him, just watching him. What do you think that he would be doing right now, this very second? Would he be doing the same thing that you're doing? Does his day look even close to your day? I mean, probably not. So guess what? Change what you're doing. The same way that you would see Tony Robbins as being someone completely different, you have to see who you are right now as someone completely different the second you stop listening to this. And I'm not saying that it's going to be easy. In fact, it's going to be the hardest thing you're ever going to do in your life to just be someone different. But either you want to build your speaking business or you don't. if you don't have the speaking gigs that you want, then don't fool yourself into thinking that what you're doing is actually working. Don't fool yourself into thinking that things are going to magically appear if you just use affirmations and read all these self-help books. Your lack of speaking gigs has been caused by you. Its sole cause is because you are doing certain things and not doing certain things, and those are producing the results, the lack of gigs. So if you become someone new, you have to become someone who instantly wakes up, you instantly do the right things every single day in a way that produces the speaking gigs that you want. So starting right now, you need to be someone completely different.